YouTube does that silly thing where it doesn't make us live. So now we're live, you silly YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to RC with Adam for another hour Q&A session to hopefully solve all of your problems in life. I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but I will definitely see what we can do about that. So if you are, let me get all my technical stuff squared away. Make sure don't have a weird echo or anything like that. Oh boy, what did I just do there? Why did I do that? Let me move that guy over there. There we go. Fantastic. All right, so if we're live on YouTube and Instagram. So if you are interested in FPV drones or 3D printing and you're like, whoa, that stuff is so cool, but I don't know anything about it, now's a great time to ask all those questions that you have. There's no question too dumb to ask. And I just had a phone call there. We'll answer that later. So please welcome. Put your questions in the chat, in the comments, and we will get to them. All right, let me see here. All right, and let's see. We're going to take a quick pause. I'll be right back. And welcome back. We're back, everybody. Sorry about that. We had a little technical issue that needed to be taken care of because that's what we do here at RC with Adam Industries. A lot of times, aside from having tons of fun, we take care of technical issues because a lot of times once you take care of those technical issues, you can have tons of fun. And that's one of the big reasons why I try to do what I do here. So, in case you're just joining me once again, my name is Adam Terry. This is RC with Adam, and we are I'm just going to be here for the next hour or so to answer your questions that you have about 3D printing and FPV drones. And in the meantime, we're just going to talk about stuff, talk about cool stuff, and just kind of hang out basically. So if you have questions or comments, leave them in the chat thingy dingy. Let me see here. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. And then we can talk about some cool stuff. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. No, it wasn't. This has been a weird week. I don't know about you guys, but it has been a weird week. So I keep forgetting like what day it is and stuff. Today is Thursday. So this was I don't know, Monday. I think it was Monday. We were talking about 3D printing, and we were talking about solving some problems that we had with the Bamboo Studio Slicer. And let me find all these tabs. So many tabs. Wow. And let's see here. So we finally figured it out. So Ricky had this question and was like, how do you make a logo on Bamboo Studio, or how do you add an SVG, essentially like a logo or text, and make it a different color? And it turns out that the answer is actually super simple. And so I made a video about it. So basically, essentially, you just put the SVG file in there and then you change the color. And I changed the depth. I'm not even sure if I needed to do that because it was just a modifier. So I don't even know if that would make a difference. It could make a difference depending on what you're doing. But yeah, you basically put an SVG in there, make it a modifier because it's essentially a shape. And then you change the color of the shape and then it will print in that color. So there you go. That was interesting. My brain got so tired trying to figure that out, doing it, but it ended up being really simple, but I feel like not very intuitive. So anyway, if that's or Ricky, if you're watching this again, go check that out. I didn't see you comment on that video, so I don't know if you saw it. And then I couldn't figure out how to find the username, but now I just realized I do know how to find the username. So we're all good there. But anyway, so yeah, in case you don't know me, in case we just met, I have a YouTube channel and I am super into 3D printing and drones and also 3D designing and stuff, and also just encouraging you in your creativity and enjoying the hobbies and the sport or whatever you want to call it of drones and airplanes and RC stuff. So there's a little bit with the RC cars as well, but I love experimenting with different ideas, different designs, and doing stuff that is just kind of not in the ordinary. And I do other stuff as well, but that's primarily what I do with RC with Adam. So we have a good time. Welcome everybody over on Instagram. Good to see you. On YouTube, welcome Animate Fun and Olive. If you guys are still there, I don't know. I had to leave at the beginning of this, so we had some technical issues. So no worries if you're not there, but that's cool. I'm thinking we might I was gonna do Friday Fly Day, but what I might do is Thursday Fly Day. Kind of depends. It's been a pretty slow week, I think. I'm not sure why. Beginning of February, but pretty slow question week for us today. For this session time. So maybe we will just do some FPV simulator stuff. I love one of the things that I like about making videos that what I like about like the side benefit of all the videos that I make is that I don't have to remember all this stuff. A lot of these projects and things that I've made videos about, I don't even remember like how to do it. So it's really nice that I have a record of it and a video of it and being like, oh, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Oh yeah, that was pretty cool too. Yeah. Wow, so many things. I'm pretty sure I have like a few days worth of videos on here. So that's pretty cool. you could just go to the playlist, like the main playlist, or like I think it's like the RC aircraft playlist or something, and just hit play, and you could watch this for days. Days. Dustin Wilson on YouTube says good morning. Good morning. Yes, and well, good morning, and wherever anybody else is watching, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, because we are live all over the world, that's pretty crazy when you think about it. That is really crazy. So we've got a lot of videos that you can check out. A lot of times I need to like shorten this up because I end up just getting off on a side tangent. But a lot of times people are like, hey, like the biggest question is like, hey, what my 3D printer is doing this weird thing. What's wrong with it? And I want people to know about this troubleshooting guide, this print quality troubleshooting guide. It's a visual guide. And this one, I think there are others, but this one is from Simplify 3D. And I should actually just put a link in the description. But these are super helpful because this way you can just see what is going on in the pictures and then see if that matches up with what's going on with your printer. It's kind of like a field guide. It's like a field identification guide, which is pretty cool. So that's a great place to start, and then you can click on it and it will tell you more about why you might be having those issues, because modern printers are amazing, but you can still have these problems. And usually when you're having these problems, it means like something is wrong. It's not just like, yeah, that happens sometimes. It's like, no, there's like a problem and you can like fix it. So you might want to, and then the other question is like, what's the best, beginner 3D printer? Probably my pick personally, the best like plug and play, grab and go, buy it and print. Printer would probably be the Bamboo Lab A1. And kind of the whole Bamboo Lab ecosystem is very like plug and play, user friendly. There are some things like, are there potentially better printers out there? Potentially, for the money. Potentially, we've been looking at this Elegoo Centauri Carbon recently. Actually, is it still on sale? Yeah, it's still on sale for $269. So you don't have like an AMS multi-filament feature and stuff like that, but you do have an enclosure and like kind of potentially better. So the point there is just like, you might want to check out that one if you don't want to go with the Bamboo Lab. If you don't need certain features and you want other features like the Core XY design where the print head can move faster because the print bed is not moving, it's just the print head, stuff like that. But don't get overwhelmed with all these options and stuff, because like I said, all modern printers are just so good that you kind of can't go wrong, because they kind of all have like the same features because they're all competing together. So FBV Shot, Tristan FPV, and Drone something over on Instagram. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see, what else were we looking at? Previously, we had been looking at the Gep RC Turn, the long range. I still love these little mini. I call them mini. They're not like super duper mini, but these little mini long range drones. I love the concept because it's like you're able to take a drone out really far, like in the mountains or whatever, and then but you don't have like a ton of money put into it with like this really big heavy drone. I've never done it personally, but I think it would be a lot of fun. And we've got a Frigenslunga, something like that on YouTube. It says, hey there, welcome. We're talking about drone stuff, talking about 3D printing stuff. Right now, we just happen to be looking at the Turn LR40 from Gep RC. Why do they call it the Turn? TERN. Interesting stuff. We're living in interesting times, people. Like really interesting times. Yeah, in some ways it's very exciting, and then in some ways it's like just so much that it really makes you just kind of want to be like, man, wish times were simpler. I want to go back to the simple times. But it's kind of interesting because only the older people, just the old geezers like us, would actually, have that thought. Isn't that interesting? That it's only once you get older that you actually have a simpler time to go back to. But when you're younger, you're just like, yeah, that's just like how it is. Very interesting. Justin Wilson says, first real drone for me was Flywoo Explorer. Under a mile is still fun. Yeah. Under a mile is still fun? Are you saying like you go even further than that with that thing? Yeah, long range can mean different things to different people, but long range, because for me, long range a lot of times would mean like I went like, 500 yards or something, or like I went, across a big field, like whoa. As opposed to some people, it's like miles, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, I think this Gep RC Turn LR40 is basically kind of like the version of the Gep RC's version of Flywoo's Explorer. Yeah. Dustin Wilson says, yeah, the world is burning, but we're finally getting cheap HD, right? Oh, yeah, right? Isn't that one of the benefits, Gosh, and it's such a strange situation because that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? The world is burning, but we have cheap HD. Yeah, it's both very impressive and also very like unfortunate that drones, especially small consumer hobby FPV drones, are used, in all these conflicts that we have going on, and probably will continue to be used in conflicts. And so, it's not a great look. You know what I'm saying? It's not a great look. And so it's very much, it's like, what in the world's going to happen? But whatever happens will happen. You know what I'm saying? No sense in stressing out about it. That's for sure. You just got to take it one day at a time and appreciate, I don't know, every time you're able to take it out for a flight, or every time you're able to, whatever it is, whatever you can do, you gotta appreciate it, and I guess, kind of use it as well, right? In terms of use it or lose it. Because the only thing worse than like, and I'm talking about like, like more regulations or restrictions on drones or drone parts and all this talk about, the DJI bans and stuff, at least in the US. It's very much, like you could easily just spend all day stressing about it or getting bummed out about it. But the fact of the matter is, like right now, you can still just go out and fly your drones, fly your airplanes, So you get to choose. Fortunately, you get to choose how you're gonna feel about it and what you're gonna do about it. Michael Hollingsworth in the chat on YouTube says, hello, Michael, welcome. We're just taking a look at this Gep RC Turn. So speaking of, as Dustin points out, the world is burning, but we're finally getting cheap HD. Said kind of tongue in cheek, I take it, because obviously, like, that's not a good thing, but cheap HD is nice. That's very interesting about the cheap HD, because I'm seriously considering, like, I have for a long time wanted to not have to use DJI stuff. The problem with DJI stuff is that it's so good. Like, it actually works really well, and it is, for the money, very, 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 I guess, affordable. Or it's not affordable. It's very worthwhile for the money, depending on what you do as well. And I'm kind of coming from more of a professional filming drone videography perspective. But man, the Cadex FPV, the walk snail stuff is really seems to be coming along. And then there's some of the stuff I've seen about the oh, what was it called? It was like I can't remember. It was like the open source HD stuff. So it's, very interesting. Very interesting the direction things are going. Hmm. Yes. And then, of course, it's also just kind of, you know, user and situation specific as far as like, when you need HD and whatnot. To me, the best thing about HD, the best thing about HD, like the whole DJI, um, the air units, is just the fact that it can be so lightweight and so small. That's one of the best things about it, because in that you can have really good quality in that small package, um, which is pretty cool. But I don't like being stuck in the DJI ecosystem that is constantly evolving and apparently could be like unobtainable in the United States at some point. So yeah, it's a little bit of a conundrum, a little bit. Michael Hollingsworth says, "I can't wait till warmer weather." Yeah, I could do with some warmer weather as well. I really could. I know as soon as it gets like really hot and humid, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I wish it was wintertime because this, I didn't have to deal with mosquitoes biting me and all this stuff. But in the wintertime, you've got a lot of wind and you've got cold and you've got your batteries don't last as long. So plus everything just looks brown. So there's that. But it is kind of nice there. But again, you just got to enjoy what you got when you got it, because that's all. That's what you got when you got it is what you got when you got it. So you got to use it when you have it. You know what I'm saying? Dustin Wilson says Ascent. Ascent? Is that the walk snail Ascent? Did I see that? This guy? The FPV VTX? Yeah, so this is, I think I saw this. Saw this before. I was wondering how this works. So we'll see. Oh goodness, I love flowcharts. Thank you so much. Thank you for a flowchart. Like this explains everything without having to use a bunch of confusing words. So the idea with the Ascent is you have your VTX. It goes into the Ascent, which is the receiver, and then you have HDMI, which takes it to whatever the heck you want. So that's great actually. That's really great. I could see this. Well, obviously you could use it with goggles. That'd be really cool. You could use it with a monitor or a TV, with kind of either one. I think that could be really cool because I I could definitely see where you want to be able to have like a larger screen and maybe you don't want to use goggles. Um, it's interesting. Yeah, that's Yeah, that's interesting. But also, it's $99. Like what? So HDMI in and then HDMI out, I guess. So yeah, I'm trying like because then you could get any kind of goggles, right? So HDMI port for wide compatibility with all FPV goggles, monitors, and TVs. Yeah. So you could, yeah, I mean, you could have like, I mean, any kind of goggles, right? You could have a pair of box goggles, like the weird names, Walk Snail Ascent. Maybe that's what you were talking about, the Ascent goggles. Does the Ascent goggles? Could you do the same thing with that? Dustin says even my old Fat Sharks have an HDMI in. Yeah, I'm wondering if my Fat Shark Scouts have that. I don't think they do, but that could be pretty cool. Or even though, like, what if, like, can you split it off of this? Could you split I guess you could, right? You could just have a HDMI splitter, and then you could have multiple people with goggles. That's really cool, and that's always been something that has been a challenge. I say always. I mean, like, yes, historically, especially for me, that's always a challenge because, like, when you know do the FPV stuff, like, you want to like show people and share it and have them like experience it. And so you have to usually, have, well, you have two sets of goggles, but it can be hard to like, um, or you need full sets of goggles, is what I'm saying. So with this, you could have a monitor, and then you could take it out to the monitor. And actually, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking like, do my goggles do that already? I don't know. I guess it just slipped my mind about the possibilities of using this, which is interesting. But I just got the that's why I bought this DJI Plus, this guy right here. The DJI Plus remote controller with modded firmware to use for the Mavic 3 to do HDMI out to send it to a bigger screen. And actually, I figured out how to send it to OBS and then out to a bigger screen, which is really cool because then you can do overlays and control it that way. Plus, like, record. I haven't tested that out, but record it on the laptop as well. So once I try that out more and everything, I'll probably post a video on how to do that in case that's interesting. But yeah, having HDMI out is very, very useful for in a lot of ways. And then they also have, what is this? The Walk Snail Avatar Repeater. Interesting. Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's very interesting, isn't it? Huh. Huh. Fascinating. Very interesting. Hmm. Yeah, that would definitely change some things for sure. As far as the how the FCC and the FAA and all the other three-letter organizations feel about that. I'm not sure, but that would be definitely expand the capability of the drone. Like, that would be super cool. Um, and what came to mind when I saw that was like, what if that was like a thing? What if that became more of a thing that people do, and they, like, somebody puts a repeater up on top of like a mountain or like a high point, and then people are able to use that repeater. I wonder if it would work like that, similar to with like GMRS radios, how there will be repeaters that people, you know, set up and maintain, and then anybody can use that repeater. Fascinating stuff. And it's kind of like about time, right? So this is Walksnail Avatar FPV VRX only. I think Ascent FPV VRX. Interesting. Let's go back. Let's see. What are the curious about the yeah, so they've got the HD goggles L only. What does that even mean? And then the Ascent goggles. So this is interesting, right? Because this is does this come with the VTX kit? Oh no, that costs more. Fine. But the point is, this is HD, right? So we're talking HD box goggles for $150. That's crazy. Yeah. when you think about like the price of all that stuff. That is really cool. Justin says, I heard the VTXs were only $39 with the camera. Let's see what. Yeah, well, it looks like the Walksnail Ascent Light Kit is $35.99, which that is insane. So wait a minute, are we talking? Is this HD or what are we talking about? Come on, give us some specs here. Yeah, 1080p, 60 frames per second, HD image. That's amazing. Only 6 grams. That's bananas. Bananas. But what does it actually look like? Like, I don't like it. Especially like FPV manufacturers. Like, come on, guys. Like, don't do us like that. Like, don't we know it's not going to look like a 4K movie. Okay? We like don't show us these pictures that are representing what you see in the goggles that are supposed to be amazing. Just actually show us what it looks like, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna look like that. It's really not. So that's just my little pet peeve of mine. You know what I'm saying? It almost feels like misrepresentation. A little bit, just a little bit. But this looks like a really great choice for, well, either for like a tiny whoop. Although there are probably tiny whoops that you can get this built in, right? I think. But anyway, just a cheap, like you're just flying around for fun. You want to put a digital FPV system in here, like, yeah. Oh, hang on a second. No, the Ascent Light Kit is part of the Ascent digital system and is not compatible with the Walksnail Avatar system. Oh, okay, so we have Ascent and Avatar, because, you know, making the names similar is going to get less confusing, right? Oh, I'm being a little snarky there, but let's see. It is not supported by Goggles X or Goggles L. Okay. Aiming. Okay, so no built-in storage. So it's basically the cheapest digital version of VTX that you can get. And that is pretty impressive. Like, well, I don't know what it looks like because they won't show me actual pictures of it. So that part is not cool, guys. But potentially, though, that has a lot of potential. So they're saying it's only with the Ascent goggles. Huh. I wonder why they would do that. Because why would they do that? Because then you have to like get into, it's almost like two different ecosystems. So Ascent receiver and Ascent Ascent. Okay, so that's why they have the Walksnail Ascent goggles. So for $150, the Walksnail Avatar goggles. Okay, so Avatar is the, I guess, much better version of the HD video. And then the Ascent is like the cheap version, basically. Interesting. Dustin Wilson says XJet on RC Model Reviews did a pretty good test of it. Interesting. We'll have to check that out. Let's see here. We duplicate. Let's see. Yeah. Let's look up. Let's check that out. So let's look up. So it's Walksnail. So this is why it's so confusing, because everything has like 5 names. So it's Cadex FPV is like the manufacturer, and then Walksnail is like the digital FPV line, and then Avatar is the nice one, and then Ascent, ASCENT Let me bring this back. And then Ascent is the cheap one. So let's see. Joshua Bardwell says, is it worth investing in Walk Snail still? What about Ascent? Abandoned DJI? We'll watch that later. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I've kind of been out of the loop in a lot of the FPV stuff because I got burnt out. There was too much. There's too much going on. There's too much coming out. There's too many new products. There's too many people saying, "Oh, is this good anymore?" or "This is not good anymore," or "This is the blah 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 killer. This is the blah 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 killer." Like, this is dead. This is blah blah blah. Get it before it's too late. And then all like the hype and then you get into like the stuff with like the regulations and the legal side, and then everybody's seems like people are more concerned about like scaring people than actually being helpful. And then it gets very opinionated, and then it's like it really makes it not fun. You know what I'm saying? So watch out for that. Watch out for that. Sometimes you just gotta like step back, take a break, and just like, you know, remember the fun parts. You know, remember to have fun. Okay, so you said XJet. Let me just search that. See if I XJet, which. Or no, you said RC model review. XJet on RC model reviews. Let's see here. Maybe it was just RC model reviews. And we got Painless 360. Watched a lot of his videos. His videos have been very helpful. And everybody over on Instagram, welcome. We're talking about the CADX FPV Walk Snail Ascent. And I guess this is this what it is? Maybe fixed wing flight test. Let's check that out. There we go. Cool. Now we got some movement on here that might be more interesting to people. Wow, an airplane? An RC airplane? People still fly RC airplanes? What? That's how it can feel if you just are like into the FPV drone world. Like, and that's all that you pay attention to so much. But no, RC airplanes, they're still a lot of fun. Let me see if we can get some audio.
More comfortable, and it's a much better removal of leaky light. So I'm going to give that a try as well. Now, I'm powering this with a 3S battery today, and knots. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Let's try and untangle this.
What I want to see is the flight footage.
Put it out again.
Let's take a look at the flight footage here.
It's a bit turbulent actually out there. There's not much wind, but it is coming around.
Of course, we have a lot of jello
holes in the trees and things
because of the, you know, unstable airplane aspect of it.
Go a bit further down. Ooh, bumpy down there. Whoa! Bumpy.
That's the tricky thing about like flying RC airplanes with the flying it with an FPV camera is like the banking and stuff. It's definitely a whole different experience than a drone.
It looks beautiful through here.
So let's see if we can
with
get
the dog, better get away from them. Probably couldn't have seen it with the analog.
I mean, that does look.
I'm not noticing any significant latency here.
Like I said, it's hard to tell with the kind of the jello and stuff, but
hopefully we're not going to lose that.
It looks good. Definitely looks better than analog.
Ah, this is great.
And I mean, for $35, like,
I'm impressed.
This is kind of like,
I'm impressed.
Kind of what everybody's been dreaming about for the last.
Excuse my shaky hands.
I don't know. Ever.
Try and miss that person with the dog again.
Certainly the last several years once digital like was actually popular. It's interesting.
Ooh, yep, breeze coming in. Oh no, this is good. This is excellent for park flying. Oh, for fixed wing park flying, I can't complain about this. It is latency is not an issue. Latency is not an issue. equal to DJI.
I'd like to see this on an FPV drone.
Not anything. $35 for an air unit. If they keep that price, that'll be brilliant. Even if they go up to $49. $49 is still a good buy if you're flying in a smaller area where you don't need the big range. But I had no issues with any kind of low signal, low bit rate or anything during that little flight. Admittedly, I'm only going probably maximum of 200 meters away, but in a park like this, that's all you need. The picture is excellent. Latency on fixed wing, nothing you can perceive. I can't perceive any latency. So, I mean, this is a slow model, of course, so you'd expect to have very little effect from latency, but it's an enjoyable experience flying.
Interesting. Caddx Protos with Ascent video system. So I don't. Let's maybe we get some.
There are a lot of
footage
timelines
here.
where I wouldn't even have bothered reviewing the product that I'm going to show you today. This is a new bind and fly drone kit ready to fly. It's already pre-bound, ready to go. You got the drone, you got the batteries, you got a little charger, you got a controller, you got a goggles,
That's
all
pretty
with
cool.
the Caddx FPV system in it. But here is why I'm reviewing this, and even if you're not interested in this product, you need to pay attention to this video. This does not have the Walk Snail FPV video system in it. It is a new system from Caddx called Ascent, and it's not compatible with existing Walk Snail systems. So what in the hell is even going on here? Is Caddx abandoning the Walk Snail system?
Because that seems weird.
Or is this some new parallel system? I don't actually entirely know, but I'm going to do my best to get the bottom of it. And yes, we will also look at this drone kit, although depending on what FPV system it's got in it and what you can do with it, it might not even matter. So
Let's take a
we'll
look
see
at
what
the
kind of
FPV
even
side.
the fastest rates aren't ultra fast. So
Yeah, look, that
okay, let's see how
it looks pretty good.
she's flying. Okay,
I'm seeing little blips, but
seems to be
that
a
could just
lot
be
of
in the
expo
DVR.
too.
There's like a
That's
little
when the
blip
signal
there.
breaks up. Even the fastest rates aren't ultra
Right there.
fast. So
Right.
okay, let's see how she's
It
flying.
was a little
Okay.
blip.
What
That's weird.
happens
Maybe
when
it's just how it's
ultra
coming back on
fast,
the playback.
Okay, let's see how she's flying. Okay.
Strange. It seems
What
like it
happens
didn't
when
show
the
up that
signal
time.
breaks
So
up?
maybe that was
Fly
just my
behind the house, the
eyes.
signal gets shitty.
I don't know.
Do I have a? Oh, we've gone to focus mode. Interesting. It goes black on the sides. It's not just focus mode. It just goes literally black. How about that?
Interesting. Oh wow.
That's, in some ways, I think that's better than focus mode, where the sides go blurry, because like it's really clear what's happening. That's interesting.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know if the audio's coming through, but he was talking about the focus mode, how the sides go black. Dustin Wilson says, "I'm just excited because this might be the first digital system I could afford." Yeah. Especially I think that's really cool that they would have it in a ready to fly kit. Like this would make it, I mean, not to be dramatic, right? Because that's what, you know, the headline of this would be like, this will kill all analog systems. This will make analog obsolete forever. Buy it before it's too late. But it seems like it kind of would, right? Because if you're getting this good of video, now I don't know about range, but if you're getting this good of video from a $35 or $40 FPV unit, I mean, why would you spend basically the same amount? See, it did that again. It twitched. Is it going to do it again? Let's see. That's weird. It's like okay, maybe it's just the playback. It could just be the YouTube playback. Maybe my bandwidth is not super great, and that's why it's doing that. Let's make sure we're getting 1080. Oh, well, let's watch it actually in top quality. Okay, I think that looks even better. I mean, look at that. You see like the individual blades of grass. You can see the wires. I mean, that's very interesting. Let's see, he does a range check. So I do think that doing the And again, this is just I'm not trying to like give like a final judgment here. This is my first time seeing this, so I'm just kind of like thinking out loud here. Just kind of talking out loud about things I think of what I'm looking at here. But as far as this when the screen goes black, so I think he sounds like he said that that's kind of like the Cadex version of DJI's like focus mode, or when you get far away. So basically, it will stop trying to show you the whole screen because it can essentially it's basically, instead of crashing or instead of everything getting blurry, it just like chops off. Or the DJI version would be like it makes the sides of the screen blurry, so it's not trying to send high bit rate of the whole screen. This one is just the sides go black, which I actually do kind of think that that's kind of cool as a good indicator of like, hey, you have really bad reception, you got to do something, instead of it just getting blurry and then you don't really notice it. So they're obviously, ooh, that was pretty close to the wires there. When the reception gets bad, it turns into mush. So that's kind of the bad thing about that with all digital stuff. I wonder about the antenna, if changing the antenna and everything would make a big difference. Yeah, that could be interesting. And then, of course, it also just depends on how good do you need. Yeah, so like that, it's getting really choppy. Unless, like, that's not my video, right? Yeah, that's like super chop, and he's going in the bushes. So that's not very great. Not very impressive as far as that goes. But I think it would be reasonable, like it's more reasonable to compare the Ascent with analog, because that's actually in the same price range as opposed to a $250 DJI Air unit, or even I guess the Avatar Air units, which are I'm not sure what the most expensive one is or what the equivalent would be, but a lot more, several times the price of the Ascent video system. That's very interesting. So the thing about that is, the thing about the whole Ascent system is like, what is Cadex? What is Cadex going to do with that? Are they going to come out with other Ascent products that are like the nice version, or is like there's something that's making the cheap version not compatible with the expensive version? Because you would think that would be like a terrible idea, right? To basically divide your product line and then make people have to choose the cheap version or the expensive version, instead of being able to like buy the expensive goggles but then the cheap Air units, but then still staying in the ecosystem. So I don't know that would be like a tactic as much as just a limitation of the technology. But who knows, because they may have some sort of master plan. That's very, very interesting, though. Very interesting. So to me, especially talking about from a professional filming perspective, being able to get really good quality, well, as good a quality as you can get in a very small form factor, like basically the DJI Air unit, like the full size Air unit. That is still, basically top of the line if you need to do that, because that eliminates the need to have a smaller and maybe not even as good kind of like action camera or heavier camera that you're going to put on a smaller drone. So basically what I'm saying is something like this definitely doesn't solve that issue, because it doesn't do onboard recording. But where was it? Where were we? We were at Walksnail. So that's when you wouldn't even want to bother with the Ascent line, at least currently, and you'd want like was that the Avatar GT kit? Maybe, I think that's for long range. I like the Moonlight idea, and then the Avatar HD Pro, Walksnail Avatar HD Pro kit V2. That one's dual, and then that one's a dual V2. I don't know. I'm not sure what the difference is, but so we're looking at this one, 170, and that's way cheaper than the DJI Air Unit Pro at 229. But again, obviously, like if you're going for quality, and also, well, it depends on which ecosystem you're already in. But if you're going for quality, you don't care about however or whatever the cost difference is between the two, because you need that good quality or nothing, basically. Like you have to have it. So from that perspective, I don't know that the Avatar HD Pro would be on par with that. Do they show? They actually do show that. Okay. It's actually very low light. Interesting. So I like the low light aspect, especially like the moonlight, the idea with the moonlight camera. I like that very much. But I'm not sure if you'd really be able to replace that or not. Of course, as I've said before, I really think that the future for FPV drones, especially for filming with FPV drones, is going to be 360 cameras, so that you don't even see a drone and you can film in any direction. We're looking for the Avatar HD Pro, I think. Video test or quality test or whatever. Versus DJI V2. We're talking about the goggles, or are we talking about, that was 3 years ago. 3 years is like so long in FPV time. Walksnail has 4K now. Yes, Moonlight. So the Moonlight is 4K? Let's take a look at this. So that's the flight test. Comparison to Pro Cam. What's our quality? I think having problems with the quality. Let's do at least 1080. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is the onboard DVR. Obviously, this has not been stabilized. This is the Cadex Moonlight 4K onboard DVR. Looks pretty terrible from a like a filming perspective. This would not be impressive, You're not going to want to film a commercial with this. However, it's possible that the jello could be fixed in terms of the drone vibrations, and then you could do post-production stuff to make it look better. You could stabilize it, and then you could color grade it and all that stuff. A lot of it is the bit rate. When you get flying too fast and the bit rate doesn't look good. Let me see if I can try and get my computer so that we're not judging it based on it looking bad through my internet, which usually that is the case. It's usually going to look a little bit worse. Yeah, it's definitely very sharp. Yeah, the jello really kind of ruins it, because then you really can't notice anything else. This is the Pro camera. I'm not sure what the Pro camera is. Maybe they mean the HD Pro. Onboard DVR. Very washed out. Very light colored. I would say not as much saturation. Fewer shadows. And then comparing it to the DJI O3, let's check that out, because that's all I have right now is the O3. Okay, we get a lot more shadows back. A lot more A lot more color. It looks smoother. I don't know if it's on a different drone or not, but definitely smoother. So once there's a little bit of wobble, a little bit of jello, but once you get rid of that jello, it's then you can actually work with something. Yeah. Yep. And then yeah, so there are a lot of things that I don't like about the O3 situation, the video quality and whatnot. And a lot of it is like the settings and accessing the settings as well. So this is Moonlight 4K onboard DVR. Okay. Let's see it. That's pretty darn dark. Interesting. We're getting some kind of flashing in the video. Huh. So that's still the moonlight. Wow. So those lights are getting blown out like a lot. And that's always the, the trade-off. That's always the difficult part, especially with the FPV drones, is like trying to get the settings right. That's going to be another big thing, another big like change, or a big area to improve is being able to change the settings and then have the settings, or maybe have the settings change automatically, and then also your flight settings compared to your filming settings, because you might want to film it and you might want it to be kind of dark, and that's okay. But when you're flying, you want like as much light as you can get. So that's a big big difference there. Let's see, what is this? Is this that's the pro camera? Got a lot of grain. I mean, obviously it's super dark, so it's blasting the ISO as much as possible. And then, of course, remember, this was 2 years ago-ish. Yeah, 2 years ago, actually. So I don't know if they've made improvements since then. Do they show the O3? Oh, that is the O3. Or no? This whole thing, the O3? That's the... Okay, so that's the O3. So the O3 is not very great either, which I know that as well. So, of course, now they have the O4. So, we're kind of not even exactly comparing apples to apples. Looks like we have the DJI O4 versus Walk Snail, who has better range test video from Joshua Bardwell. That was 11 months ago. The GT, yeah, the GT, or I think it's the GT2 from Walk Snail. That is the one that is made for the long range. DJI O4 Pro, this is what we're looking at right now, clearly has better video quality. Seems to, or higher bitrate or something. Seems like the whole image is nicer and sharper, which is interesting because you only need the image to be so nice when you're actually flying, like as the pilot. But for recording, you want it to be as nice as possible. That does look really nice, though. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Or light. Okay, so he's comparing the O4 Lite. Let's see, what does the O4 Lite look like? Is the O4 Lite? It looks like it is. So I think that's the idea, that he's comparing the O4 Lite to the Walk Snail sort of smaller version with less range. Interesting. Interesting. This is an interesting comparison video. This is the best FPV system in 2025, question mark. DJI O4 versus Walksnail versus Analog. And DJI Vista, which that's much older. Yeah. We have the Walksnail. Let's see what that looks like. Whoa. What Walksnail, though? They just say Walksnail. So is that... what model of Walksnail? An Analog. It's at least a good reference, kind of, to get an idea of the differences between all of them. Interesting. It's a cool place to fly around. The O4 Lite and the O4 Pro. Let's take a look at that. Oh, well, it's kind of buried in the frame, so it's a little hard to see. Definitely looks like the best image quality. It gets a little blurry there. Okay, so very interesting. We got to wrap it up, but the idea of what we're talking about, it's interesting. I mean, I think that is really cool that we're getting much more affordable HD. But like I was saying, I think that the really nice DVR recording quality, that having that ability is great if you are trying to have it on a small drone and then not need to carry any extra camera, and you're just kind of okay with the less quality from the tiny camera on the tiny drone. But the benefit is it's a tiny drone and you can do stuff with it that you could not do with a larger drone. So I think from that perspective, that's really where it shines. Otherwise, if it does go the direction that I think it should go, which is that we end up seeing a lot of 360 sort of invisible drone, FPV drones used for filming purposes, then it won't really matter to have, you kind of wouldn't want to spend the extra weight on the nicer, heavier air unit that records better because you're recording on the 360 camera. And then you're kind of going back to using the FPV camera just to actually pilot the thing. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting place that we're in, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And speaking of going, I've got to go. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and giving your input and stuff. Flying Butter just jumped in the chat and says, I have not been here for a long time. Yes, you have not. We've missed you terribly, Flying Butter. But welcome. Yeah, I know. It's been a weird week, but glad to have you back. I'm going to wrap up now, and I will see you all again tomorrow at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we will continue and come with your questions and things to talk about. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.